Today, we have the distinct honor of speaking with a true pioneer in the world of digital audio, a man whose invention changed the way we listen to music forever. Let's welcome Dr. Karlheinz Brandenburg, the renowned German engineer and the co-inventor of MP3 audio format. With a background in electrical engineering and mathematics, Dr. Brandenburg played a pivotal role in developing audio compression techniques that became the foundation for the MP3, from revolutionizing music distribution to enabling portable music players and streaming platforms. His contribution has left an indelible mark on modern media consumption. Welcome, Mr. Dr. Brandenburg. It's a real privilege to have you with us today. To begin with, where did the idea of compressing audio data so efficiently originate? Was there a specific moment or problem that sparked the concept of MP3?
The idea came up in different parts of the world around the same time, but I can speak about our research in Erlangen. My thesis advisor later on for my PhD work had worked on digital phone connections. And he thought, okay, what's the equivalent to the introduction of color TV or black and white TV in the phone network? And that would be to have not just voice and speech, but music and generic audio over the phone network. And he applied for a patent for that idea. The patent examiner told him, no, according to the state of the art, this is not possible. So he was looking for a PhD candidate who would look into that problem. And I was around at that time. He asked me whether I would like to do some work on that. I thought, okay, I think the patent examiner is correct, but it will be enough to get a PhD and then to work on something real. So I was mistaken quite a bit.
Excellent, sir. The thing is, what was it like working on MP3 in the early days, especially when few people understood the potential? Are there any challenges you faced and your team?
Yes, of course. We had one fortunate thing happen, and that was that others thought about digital radio. And there was a lot of public financing in the late 80s into the 90s on developing everything it needs to have radio, not via frequency modulation, but some digital technology. So that enabled us to have not just myself and a few students at the university, but really a team led by the later Professor Gerhäuser, who worked on that and worked in competition with others who worked on the same problem, even within the same project. And that had some difficult times because we were always told, oh, your system is too complicated. No, we won't use that. It seemed to us like there had been some decision taken before we even started. But we did the right things, and in the end, we've been successful.
You recently met music director M.M. Keeravani, which brings to mind the unique qualities of Indian classical music, particularly its use of microtones and complex rhythmic patterns. So, given your expertise in psychoacoustics, how do these intricacies influence audio compression and perception modeling?
I think no, not at all. I've got some, not often, but I heard some Indian classical music as well. But the point is that unlike in speech coding, where the generation of the speech is very important and used by how we do speech coding, in audio, every sound has to be transmitted and it should sound the same again. And that's a question mostly of our ears. So we work with the properties of the ears, and they don't change from country to country. Okay. That's the same.
So after listening to Indian classical music and compared to Western music, are there any difficulties you faced in compressing the audio? And
No, I don't think so. Okay. Any problems? Of course, in judging the quality, we found that people are have the most ability to find little difference in music they have heard before and listened to. So in our team, there was one person who liked hard rock music. And he was the only one who could hear differences there, where all the others said, no, this is just noise. So it's the same thing then for the Indian classical music, that probably people from India have a shorter time to really learn the little differences. But in the end, it's the same.
Have you ever analyzed Indian music in the context of MP3 compression?
Not really. I'm not sure. Of course, in my team now, in Ilmen now, we have somebody who is a composer and arranged movie music in India as well. But we didn't do any experiments for that. It's more that we took his music, which sounds like Western classical music, as demo material for our new system for spatial audio.
So, your recent work with the immersive audio augmented reality headphone system is fascinating. Could you tell us how this technology works and where it can be helpful?
Yeah. First, people have tried that for a long time. So it's something some people really need. People who can't afford many loudspeakers in the room, or they have them but are not allowed to crank up the volume and so on. So for them, it's really a need to have the same experience of sound around you from headphones, and not just from loudspeakers. People, when trying to do that, have overlooked some basic ideas how our brain works. One is sound changes all the time when I move in a room. This I normally don't even realize. It's somebody speaking there. And if I move around, it's still the same person speaking there. In reality, there's always different sound coming to our eardrums, and our brain says, okay, I know this change, that must be the person's at this position. And the other is, even in rooms like here, you always get reflections. If you are in an anechoic room, it sounds very strange. So in reality, there's always reflections, and humans are a little bit like bats. They use these reflections, but unconsciously again, to do localization of sound and to better understand sound and so on. It's still, in the end, it sounds like one sound source. And if you use both these effects, then you can get a realistic way of representing sound, which really sounds like the real world. And that's a big progress over the last few years.
So has psychoacoustic research evolved significantly since the development of MP3? Are there newer insights that you think could lead to even better compression in the future?
The compression of just two channel, I think we've reached the glass ceiling. And especially in psychoacoustics, that's defined mostly by the properties of our ears, of the inner ear, and that's it. But for listening to sound in a room, to spatial or immersive audio, it's sound coming through both eardrums to our brain, and the most important part happens in the brain. And that's only partly understood in the moment. And there we are still learning how to do things better. We got great progress in the last 10 years, and there will be more progress probably. We can reproduce immersive sound now better than at any time before. But I won't rule out that there will still be ideas how to do certain aspects even better.
Wonderful. Do you think the MP3 format is nearing the end of its life cycle with the rise of streaming and newer codecs like AAC or Opus?
Okay. Of course, for me, it's easy to say yes if you want to use AAC, because we've been involved in AAC as well. So while I was more directly doing simulation runs and so on in MP3, I had a big influence on AAC as well, and our team working with others. So I would say yes, AAC is clearly better than MP3 in several aspects. But anyway, MP3 plays everywhere, and that will go on for quite some time. And yes, on your mobile phone and on other devices, usually systems understand different of these formats, but MP3 won't go away.
And coming to AI is also being used in spatial acoustics, such as to stimulate how sound interacts with different environments and to enhance immersive audio in VR and gaming. What are your thoughts on AI's role in shaping spatial sound experience?
We are looking into that in the moment in my company. It's not easy. Of course, there's certain applications where you definitely need AI. If we talk about the long range vision of personalized auditory reality party, there we will need AI because the rendering algorithm and the headphone needs to be aware of the room it is and recognize the situation. So I can say there are some people yelling, I don't want to hear them.
Yeah.
And this definitely needs some AI technologies. On the other hand, the basics are really connected to how our brain works. And yeah, there are some things where we try whether we can recognize rooms and find room similarities. That's ongoing research, and let's see what happens.
And looking ahead, what do you think is the future of audio technology? Are there any innovations that particularly excite you?
Of course, what we are doing in the moment. I'm very excited because we have this demo. We are not here in Hyderabad, but at a lot of trade shows and conferences. And it's always great to watch the faces of people if they experience that sound for the first time. They didn't think it's possible before. So that excites me a lot. Yeah, I think if you look into all these issues, you never know what great ideas the next generation of bright young people will come up with. But there's enough work on what we see in the moment that I'm not surprised with what's happening, but I see a lot of work still to be done and we have to do it.
So what are the current major projects you're working on? You want to share anything?
In the moment, I'm no longer involved in audio coding. That's been continued in Erlangen. In fact, there's work on standardization of MPEG-I for interactive, but that's more for the gaming side and so on. And I have some PhD candidates who, from different angles, look at some of the basic research questions which are still open in that field, especially in what you need to know about the rooms and all that. And otherwise, it's really the product roadmap for our company, which in the moment means we are selling systems to recording studios who want to be able to listen to their multi-channel mixes at different places, or even in their main studio if they don't have the 15 loudspeakers necessary for the setup. Next generation we are preparing will be to have the same. Next generation will be to have the same available to consumers who spend a lot of money on the best audio they can get, and there are quite a number. Repeat that, there are quite a number of the people, and we know there's a whole community of people who are very interested in the highest audio quality, and for them this would be available as well. And the third generation is then what I already shortly mentioned, the personalized auditory reality or party. That's then fully adaptive. I have headphones on And I sometimes have a very simple comparison for that. I say, like the glasses for me are matter of fact something I do have on all the time and it improves my vision. These headphones should be there. You can wear them all the time. You hear your surrounding, but it improves what you hear by getting the sound level down if you don't want it to get up when you want to talk to somebody and so on.
Exactly. Asking out of curiosity, have you ever collaborated with any Indian musicians or something for your research?
In the moment, we have an Indian former student. He did his master's now in Ilmenau, and he, on the same side, is a composer and does music for movies and so on in India. So, yes.
Excellent, sir. It's a real privilege to meet you and have a conversation with you. Thank you so much for giving your time for us. Thank you so much, sir.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.